And everyone is going to be raised, but raised out of this body, not out of some little tomb in the cemetery. It doesn't matter where you drop this little garment, whether it's cremated, as so many of us today require, or whether it simply disintegrates in the land. It doesn't really matter. It's not there that you are. This is the tomb of God. This is the sepulchre of God. And here, and only here, we rise, and we rise from within. And these are the signs and the wonders. It begins with the resurrection. And the very night of the resurrection, within a matter of moments following the resurrection, is the birth from above, symbolized in the imagery of Scripture as a little child wrapped in swaddling clothes, which Simeon said it is a sign given to us for the fall and the rising of many in Israel. In other words, here is the sign. You can either accept it or reject it. You accept it as the sign, as Matthew tells us, of Emmanuel. God is with us. For this is the name given to the child. God is with us. When you see the child, then for that moment, it is God that is born. But who is born? You are born. You are the one who actually begins to awake. You awake within your own skull. And when you are completely awake, as you have never been awake before, you find yourself completely entombed within your skull. That's the sepulchre. And you're all alone, and no one helps you to get out. But you have an innate wisdom. You know exactly what to do. And you do it. You push the base of your skull, and something gives. It actually gives. And as it gives, it opens, a very small opening. And you push your head from within your skull, you push it out of your own skull. Therefore, you are not the skull. This thing you think to be yourself now is only a garment that you are wearing. Because you, the real you, in an entirely different body, you come out. And this is not your body. This is only a garment that you are wearing. As much as this is the garment that the body now wears, this flesh and blood is the garment that I wear. And you come out from the base of your skull, and you squeeze yourself out just like a little child being born from the womb of a woman. Only this time it's from the skull, not from the womb. And when you come out, the imagery of Scripture, all the signs and wonders surround you. Here are the witnesses to the event. And they come suddenly, unexpectedly. Suddenly they appear, and there they are. 3 in my case, as Scripture describes them, there were 3. In my case, there were 3. They were my brothers, my older brothers, and there were 3 of them. And the wind, the unearthly wind, is present. You can't quite describe it, but wind and spirit are the same in Hebrew and in Greek. So the wind blows where it wills, and you hear the sound of it, but you cannot tell whence it comes or whither it goes. So it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit. And here is this unearthly wind. And you're disturbed because it's just like a storm, a terrific storm. And as you look, thinking it may come from there, then one of these on the bed where your body lay. For here you came out of the body, and the body's on the bed. It's ghastly pale. And one gets up to investigate the source of the wind. And as he goes 1 or 2 feet, he is attracted by something on the floor. And he lifts what is on the floor, and it's an infant wrapped in swaddling clothes. And he announces what the infant is, and he calls you by your earthly name. In my case, it's Neville. He said it's Neville's baby. The other 2, they said in the most incredible voice, how can Neville have a baby? He doesn't argue the point, he presents the evidence. And here he places on the bed an infant wrapped in swaddling clothes. And then I took the infant in my hands, and looking into its face, I said, "How is my sweetheart?" A heavenly smile broke upon its face, and then it was caught up out of my hands, and the whole vision came to an end. That's the first night. But it begins with the resurrection. This is not a story of this world at all. So when we are told the story, as Tennyson said, truth embodied in a tale shall enter in at lowly doors. We are incapable on this level of grasping this profound truth. So it is told to us in the form of a tale that you would tell to a child. And so my mother told me the tale. Then I went to school and they repeated the tale. And then I went through life and they repeated the same tale. And then when I'm a man, a completely matured man, then it happened in me. And then I had to reinterpret Scripture in the light of my own experience of Scripture. Now I know it is not historically true as we understand history. If by history means secular history, it is not historically true secularly. Yet it is divine history, something that is taking place forever and forever. And at the appropriate time, the individual is drawn into that thing that is always taking place. And then he who is buried in the individual awakes, and he is God. It's the story of the birth of God, who deliberately came down and assumed the limitations of the thing called man. But he is not man, he is God. And you are God. Every child born of woman is God. The very moment that he breathed, that was God. That was the breath of God. But he must go through the horrors of the world. Why? Time will prove why. We must suffer. Why we must actually go through all the experiences and the pain of this world. But when you think of the end, the result, then I presume it will all vanish as though it never will. When you think what actually takes place as a result of our sufferings when we became man. So the signs and the wonders by which God led his people out of Egypt. Now Egypt is not on the north coast of Africa. The world is Egypt. America is Egypt. Russia is Egypt. Everything in the world, this earthly state, is Egypt. It's a world of darkness, a school of educative darkness. And we are led out of this school of educative darkness into light.